Hello guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be doing our championship game week 41 predictions. It's going to be mental. We've had a few really good games today. I'm predicting, and I'm really looking forward to it. So should we start off? And plus, I have got a different website to do my predictions. This time it's Super Brew. So if you want to check it out, do your predictions, then feel free to do it. It's a very good app. It's around the same with KickTip. You know, it's a decent app to use it on, and I might flick between the two. But the most important thing is I'm going to be doing my predictions. And should we start off with the first game being Sheffield United versus Bournemouth. And as you can see the table, the current table right there. And Sheffield United are currently sitting 6th, looking decent, well, as Bournemouth sits 2nd. So you can really flicker between the two, Sheffield United look like a very, very solid side, I can't lie. And so do Bournemouth, Bournemouth just blipped a little bit against West Brom, I believe, 2-0 loss, and as well as, and as well as Sheffield United getting a big win against QPR. These two sides are literally around the same. I can't really split these two sides, but it's just based on their higher in the table. I'm going to go for a 2-1. So 2-1 Bournemouth win for me. Moving on to Blackburn versus Blackpool. What an interesting tie this is going to be. Blackburn looked like a roadside side, just recently getting a point against Coventry City last weekend, and as well as Blackpool, looking decent, lost their last game. But, at the end of the day, it's not that bad. 2 losses on the trot. Yeah, it's definitely not the best. But Blackpool, first season back into the championship since 16th currently. And, and Blackburn really looking, blipping. They're blipping at the moment. They're sitting 8th. They were currently sitting 4th a few weeks ago. Now they're sitting 8th. They've had a massive blip. They do not look like a decent. They look all right, just getting a point against Coventry City when they're 2-1 up. It's pretty disappointing, and I'm going for a 1-0 win here against Blackpool. I just think, they look like a decent side. Blackpool, it's currently sitting 16th. First season in the championship, winning 14. I just think, Blackpool will slip. Moving on to Bristol City versus Peterborough United. Bristol City currently sitting 19th, and Peterborough United sitting last. As you can see in that standings, Derby have not been deducted their 21 points, so you can see Bristol sit 20th, but they actually sit 19th. Bristol, they just, honestly, I don't know what's going on with them. They recently, they have a really good stadium, a capacity of 21,000, and they're just not pulling the pieces. They're just not, they've got everything set up to be a good side when they're not a good side at the moment. Sitting 19th on 44 points is pretty disturbing, that's for sure. They're not looking good at all, Bristol. But it is against Peterborough United. No offence to Peterborough United, but I think they're going down. And you have to beat a team that's pretty much going down. So I'm predicting 2-0 Bristol. I could be wrong. I definitely could be wrong. And Bristol City could, floor Peterborough. They could easily beat Peterborough. Peterborough could beat Bristol the other way around. But I just think Bristol, they're not looking good, but they just have enough quality to beat this Peterborough side. Moving on to the Riverside, which is Middlesbrough versus Hull City. And Middlesbrough currently sitting in a very, very comfortable 7th. And they're only 2 points off playoffs. It's going to be a real tight race between Middlesbrough, Sheffield United, Forest, Luton, Blackburn. and even QPR come into the equation, it just really turned down to a massive game. And yes, against Hull, but they still have to win. They have to win this game, Middlesbrough. And honestly, this could be 3 or 4. I'm going to go 2-0 just to be comfortable. I just think, Middlesbrough, they're a good side and all, but yeah, I like that, yeah. I just think Middlesbrough will, have enough. Moving on to Millwall versus Barnsley, the Den. And Barnsley sit in a very worrying 22nd position, 8 points off drift. And Millwall sit in a very comfortable, usual 10th spot for them. That's where they always finish until something happens. But it's a very hard place to go, the Den. So is Oakwell is a tough place to go to play Barnsley, but the Den is just the Den, isn't it? It's iconic, and it's a bit fierce and a bit rumbly. And honestly, this could be a 1-1 draw, but I'm gonna edge it 2-1 Millwall. The reason why I'm saying 1-1 because Barnsley, Millwall love at 1-1, and Barnsley need a 1. Well, at least they need a win, but a 1-1 draw won't be too bad. They've only played about 39 games. So they have a game in hand on Derby, and they have a game in hand on pretty much everyone. So, Barnsley could do an upset, but I don't think they will. Moving on to Nottingham Forest versus Birmingham, and it's a very tough place to go, is the City Ground, as Coventry fans all know from yesterday. City Ground, I'm recording as well, but, Forest, they look like a good side, aren't they? They're 5th right now. They're not automatically going up, not in the playoffs automatic. They still have to win some games, and Birmingham, it's a sort of a big chance for them to do it. Their capacity stadium's 30,000. Last night it was 29,000. They pretty much filled out the whole stadium. And Coventry fans did their part. They did brilliantly. It's going to be hard for Birmingham to win this game. Forest so delighted with that win over Coventry City. They're putting themselves in a very good position. Do I think they will win? I think they can win. I don't think, Forest can win, but Birmingham, can they bring some spark about them? They're 18th, they're typical 18th. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 Forest win. I just honestly think, Forest just have enough in the tank, surely have enough. Moving on to, let's see how far. Alright, moving on to Deepdale, which is Preston North End versus QPR. A must win for QPR. And they've been slipping from the start of the season. For literally, about February? They've been slipping from there, really, March maybe. They've been slipping a lot. And, Preston, sitting currently 13th. In a very good position. If Preston win and Coventry lose to Fulham, which they probably will, Coventry could be slipping down to 13th. Preston, I don't know if they will win. They could. That's the issue. They can win, Preston. I'm still on the fence to go for a 1-1 draw because you can see QPR is run. They've lost, 6 out of their last 7. Disappointing. With Preston drawing 3, won 2 and lost 2. Both teams not on the best form. And QPR just look like they just look poor, don't they? They can't really do anything. Moving on to Reading versus Cardiff. A massive game for Reading. If they win this game, they can think about staying up. Currently sit on 37 points. They would have sat on 43 if they did not get deducted 6 points. So they currently definitely still, they lose the next few games, and Barnsley win their next few games. Reading are back down there, so they have to just win a game where they could win. Cardiff City's currently sit 17th. It's definitely a possibility Reading can get a result here, especially at home. I'm going to go for 1-0 Cardiff. I don't know. Barnsley played another tough team. I don't think he'll do much to Reading. But Cardiff, looking good recently. Yes, they lost their last game, but they won. They drew. They won one in their last four. 3 wins and a draw in their last 5. So that's really good form for Cardiff. They really boosted their season, and let's see what they do next season. But they've really showed what they are. Moving on to Swansea City versus Derby County. An interesting game. Swansea City, currently sits 16th. 14th actually. Swansea City looking in a good spot in 14th, and Derby County, 9 points adrift. It's looking really, really rough for Derby County. They've not been on the best form in the last 7. 2 wins, a draw, and 4 losses. It's not what you needed. They started to really show what they are, and then they slipped down a lot. And this season, it's not going to be this game even. It's not going to be any different. I think Derby will just try and win, and I think they will win. I think they'll get a 2-1 win. I don't know what that would do. I don't know what that will do to their season or anything, but they'll get another win, boost their crowds. I don't know, but yeah, I just think it'll be 2-1 Derby. Moving on to Hawthorns with West Brom versus Stoke. 2 teams around each other in the table. West Brom currently sit 11th. Stoke City sit 15th. I remember I did the Stoke City Coventry City preview all that time ago, and Stoke City were currently sitting like 8th or something, looking good. They've slipped a lot. In their last 7, 2 wins, 2 draws, and 3 losses. And with West Brom just picking up a 2-0 win over Bournemouth. Let's not forget, that's a 2-0 win over Bournemouth. That's really good. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw here again. I just think, West Brom, they look like a good side, yes. But I think Stoke will hold them out. Moving on to Craven Cottage with Derby County versus Coventry City. It's going to be interesting. Coventry City, just coming off that 2-0 loss to Nottingham Forest, and our form is looking abysmal. 4 losses in the last 7, a win and 2 draws. It's absolutely dreadful. We slipped down to 12th. We could be slipping down to 13th, 14th, if I'm honest. It's going to be a tough game against one of the best teams their best team in the league, should I say, in Fulham. We beat them 4-1 at home. Can we repeat the same? Honestly, I don't know. I think we'll win. I think we'll lose 2-1. I'm being a bit optimistic because we could easily lose 3-4-0. I'm being serious. Our defence has been dreadful. See Fulham's form, 5 wins and drawing a loss in their last 7. We've only got 1 win to our name. So, yeah, moving on to the last game, which is Huddersfield Town versus Luton Town. A very, very good game. Huddersfield sit 3rd, Luton sit 4th. 1 point separates these 2 sides. It's going to be a Monday night classic. Monday the 11th of April, Easter holidays as well. Classic. Huddersfield Town, they've been really, really shone out everyone. Even Fulham. They even have shone over Fulham and Bournemouth. Fulham were expected to do that. Bournemouth were expected to do that. Huddersfield weren't really expected to be 3rd going into the last 6 games of the season for most teams. But Luton Town, if they were away at Luton, that would have been a tough match. But I'm going to go for a high, thrilling 3-2 win for Huddersfield Town. It's going to be a massive win and all that. As you can see, my summary there. So I've gone for 2-1 Bournemouth, 1-0 Blackburn, 2-0 Bristol, 2-0 Middlesbrough, 2-1 Millwall, 2-0 Forest, 1-1 between Preston and QPR, 1-0 Cardiff, 2-1 Derby, 1-1 between West Brom and Stoke, 2-1 Fulham, and 3-2 Huddersfield Town. It's going to be an interesting game week, that is for sure. But I hope you guys liked the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, road to 50 subscribers, and see you guys in the next one. Peace.